Thanks for joining us on the Jameson Files. I'm your host, Carrie Weber, and excited to be joined once again on this episode by Dr. Loida Robles of Chico, California. On this episode, we're going to talk about community and how pouring into her community has ultimately poured into the success of her practice. So thank you so much for being with me again.
Oh, thank you for having me. I always love coming.
And, you know, for those of you that listened to the previous episode with Dr. Robles, you know a little bit about her incredible story toward becoming a dentist and a dental practice owner, and the success that she's experiencing at a very fast pace. But we mentioned in those that you practice in Chico, California, which is not a very large community. How big is Chico?
Well, Chico is about 100,000 people, and then after our campfire on November 8th, we increased about 20,000 people overnight.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful town in Northern California. And but, you know, I think when we talk and have conversations, we talk about the last few years that you've been practicing, and the growth you've experienced and the health you've had in the practice as a business. A lot of that is because of your connection to your community. And there's a lot of people that are probably going to be listening to this or watching this online that you're practicing in a town of 100,000 or less, you know, a town of 30,000, a town of 3,000, and how important, you know, committing yourself to community can be for your own professional fulfillment, if that, you know, is a driver for you, but also for your business to be connected to community. I mean, you do this so well. So how did you, I know you had connection even prior, your family lived there while you were going to dental school, but when you finally went into practice ownership, how did those dots connect for you, and how did that community connection make a difference, and how did you keep connected in that way?
Well, you know, when I was in school, it was the community had helped me so much, or helped us so much, and it was from my daughter's preschool to the elementary school to the teachers. Everybody stepped up to help my family, you know, just picking up from school, letting them know if they were sick, somebody needs to take them home. I mean, it was just really, and from then I said, I have to give back to these people.
So those that might maybe didn't listen to the first episode, Dr. Robles was a hygienist for 14 years before going back to dental school with two young children and her husband, and was commuting several hours to go to school during the week. He was staying there, a lot of that it took a village, literally to help you accomplish that very extraordinary goal of you know, being able to go into practicing dentistry yourself. So that community tie was so important for your survival as a family in those few years of school.
But even as before I went to school, I mean, there was that portion, but before I went to school, the relationship that I had as a hygienist with my patients was very important to me. So when I made that decision to go to dental school, you know, my plan was to come back to Chico. That was the plan. Whose practice or which practice? That was a question mark. And then when it became obvious that I was going to be purchasing Dr. Beckett's practice, and I was going to assume the dentist role for these patients, that I was their hygienist for 14 years.
Wow, yeah.
And that was important to me because the continuity of care was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known these people now for over 20 years. And, you know, there's some patients, I'm like, so are you still eating a bag of M&Ms in front of the TV every night? Because we talked about this, you know, and that relationship that you build with the patients was really important to me. But then it went on to the community. So I don't do a whole lot of marketing.
Yeah.
I don't, but I do contribute to community programs that are important to me. Okay. So I contribute, or I'm a sponsor to a program that's run through Chico State, and it's lifelong learning, and it's a learning program for retired people that they can take courses at Chico State, and I'm all about lifelong learning.
Yes.
I'm like, this is like right up my alley.
Yes.
And this program is wonderful for people who have retired and they want to just take some courses through the
Yeah.
college without having to earn a degree. So that was important.
Do you feel like, obviously you're making decisions on what to support, how to support based upon what, what's important to you, what makes sense, do you see that a healthy side effect of that is it is bringing people to your practice?
Yes.
And wow, what a different level of trust and relationship that must be when those new patients walk in the door coming from the contributions you're making to your community. What's that like?
Right. And it is, they say, oh, I saw that you're a sponsor for Ollie at Chico State, and that's why I'm here because, that program is so important to me. And I said, well, it's important to me too.
Wow.
And that's just kind of an opener of, okay, now this is what my mission is, and these are my goals that I have for you and your mouth. You tell me about your goals, about your mouth, and what you would like.
Wow.
And it just starts that conversation, and we have that bond right there.
Yes.
So I am more in tune to contribute to programs that are important to the community, and if patients come to me because of that, great, fantastic.
And when we have talked over time, and we just, I pick your brain, I want to know how things are going and how these are happening. It sounds like you have a lot of peers that reach out to you, and you're just a few years in as a practicing dentist. Of course, that doesn't include the span of time you've had in the career of dentistry.
Right.
They're coming to you to, how are you doing this? What's this, do they come to you for looking as a resource? And I know you do a lot even for your dental community as well.
Right. My dental community. Yeah. So I took over a study club, a Spear study club. And yes, I'm the, I guess, youngest, maybe not in age, but in dental years, I'm the youngest dentist in the group. And, that's humbling. But they do come to me for questions. But I think also Jameson, I've been with you guys for 2.5 years, and I say they've taught me so much.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of people come to me as far as how did you do this transition? How did you do this? Can I meet with you for a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love any questions that you have. I have some time, and just call me, whatever. When the campfire happened, within 24 hours, I told my front office, let's get Chico Paradise Dentists together.
Yes.
Let's find out how we're going to treat these evacuees that have lost their homes, and a lot of them evacuated without dentures, partials, and what are we going to do to help support our Paradise dentists? Do they want to continue practicing? Do they want to continue seeing their patients and help them with the transition, whether they wanted to keep practicing or maybe not? This is their way of transitioning out. But we want to be there to support them. And within 24 hours, we had 40 dentists at this meeting.
Wow.
And I was so thankful that my Chico community doctors were there for the Paradise community doctors, and we all got to be together to support each other.
Yes.
So, I opened up my office to Paradise doctors, and they were able to see patients until they were figured out what they were going to do.
Yeah. And, it's just that really spreading a servant's heart out to your community, and it's probably having this domino effect in terms of your colleagues and this understanding that we're in this together. We're in this for this community,
right?
And it takes maybe a little bit of those competitive walls out, if there ever were any, and you all can grow and be healthy and support each other together, and ultimately in a shared mission of helping that community.
Well, I always tell my team, we always do what's best for the patient. And when the evacuees started calling and saying they needed new dentures, and their Paradise doctors were, we don't know how to get a hold of them, I said, well, the best thing for this patient is to continue the relationship with their Paradise doctor.
Yes.
So that's what implemented. Okay, let's get them together. Let's find out how we can help, have patients find their doctors and get them the help they need. And if doctors have decided to not go back into practice, then okay, let's find a home for these evacuees then. But always doing what's best for the patient.
Yes.
The outcome is never negative.
And, you know, for you, community is a core value to who that you are and how you want to practice. And it's just such a testament to, if you're true to your purpose and your mission, it all makes sense, and it makes those decisions easy.
Oh, yes.
I mean, probably me asking you all these questions, like how you do that, it's just your authentic self a lot of the time, probably.
Right.
And you're
Yes.
like, what do you mean? How did I do it? I just did it. You know, and you know, I love my town, and I love the people in the town, and
Right.
I've known these people all my life. But there's a lot of people going back to their hometowns, or a lot of people that are in small communities, or even larger communities that haven't figured out how to make authentic connection. Do you feel like there's something that you can encourage them? You know, I think, from my perspective, it must be authentic. You can't
Right.
pretend to be what you really aren't. And I appreciate, like how you said, you find the places and the spaces in your community that mean something to you, and you
Right.
contribute there.
Right.
And in return, you know, it comes back to you like a boomerang.
I think that younger dentists nowadays have they have the struggle, a financial struggle with some of the loans that they graduate with, and they have an inner struggle of, I need to pay these bills, but I need to do this. And I always say, if you make the decision that's best for the patient, the money, the bills, all that, it'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come. If you focus so much on, well, I need to do this to pay the bills, then
Yes.
you're losing your sight on your purpose and your vision. Because the money will come.
And you know, when we talked about your vision and how you accomplish your vision every time you recast it.
Oh, gosh.
With your team.
Right.
And now we're talking a lot about your core values and your mission, and how, you know, community is key for you, and how you've incorporated community to be the driving growth of your practice, and not with negative intention.
No.
It's truly from your heart and what drives you and what gets you up in the morning. And, you know, I think, you know, in that building of trust and belief and motivation for your team, for your patients, to see the why behind the what, and it's very real.
Yes.
And if you don't know your why, how do you help people see the value of the what?
Right.
And you obviously have that depth of understanding of why you chose to, at this point in your life, shift gears.
Well,
And that's reflecting in
Right.
the extraordinary growth of your practice, and the continuous influx of people that believe in you and want to be a part of your patient family.
right. You know, I think also being a quote older dentist, older new dentist,
Yeah.
I felt like when I graduated, I have a good 20 years to practice dentistry. I have a good 20 years. I am going to practice dentistry the way I want to practice dentistry,
Yes.
for sure.
Amen.
And I wasn't going to deviate from that. And so, you know, when you get out of school, there is a lot of insurance companies trying to get you to
Yeah.
sign some contracts. And I'm like, you know what? I don't agree with that philosophy. And that's going away from the type of dentistry that I want to practice. So, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, no, thank you. And they say, well, we can do your marketing. We can do. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's deterring me. It's taking me off course
Yeah.
of what I really need to do. And that, I think, was a big deciding factor, too, is I have 20 years. I am
Yeah.
going to practice the way I want to practice.
Unapologetically.
No, exactly.
And you can come and be my patient
Or
or
not.
not.
Yeah, or not.
And this is what I'm
yeah.
all about. I am not
This is
I'm
me,
not,
right.
I'm not putting up, smoke and
No.
mirrors here.
Right.
This is me. This is what I'm going to do. This
Yeah.
is how I'm going to take care of you. This is what you can expect.
Right.
I'm going to take care of you and your family to the best of my ability, in what I consider the highest possible care.
Right.
And you choose.
Yeah, you have a choice. And I tell my team, our practice isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
There's people that, they have a different mission for themselves. They have different goals
Right.
that I'm not willing to go there. It's not part of my mission. And
Right.
they can find another dental practice.
Yeah.
I am totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes we have to write some goodbye letters, like, thank you so much, but we have to break up. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I also want to sleep at night.
Yes.
Sleep is very important to me, and if I'm making decisions that doesn't allow me to sleep well at night, then that's not worth it. It's not worth
It's like
it.
my father who's a retired dentist and practiced in a real small rural town, and decided the same thing. He's deeply connected to the community, beloved in the community, but not everybody went to him.
No.
Because the ongoing theme was he's not cheap, but if you want really great care and great dentistry, you go to Dr. John. But you've got to decide that for yourself. And people walked in the door knowing he's going to take the best care of me.
Right.
He's going to do this right and do what's right for me. And
Right.
I might be paying for it.
Right, exactly.
But that the depth of the community, he wasn't upset when people didn't choose him as a dentist, and it didn't stop him from like you do, contributing into the community and being connected and engaged in the community as a person, as a business in that community, as a person that can support the community as a whole.
Well, since my husband and I both grew up in Chico, there is such an emotional attachment to Chico.
Yeah.
With the park. I mean, there's just, we raised our girls there.
Yeah.
So it's important to both of us that we help support our community.
So if there's somebody out there listening saying, man, I'm not connected, or, I want to connect more. I want my business to be more integrated with the community. I want to be contributing in that way. And in turn, it helps to feed my practice with people that want to be seen by me. Do you have, what would be a first step? What would be something that you would recommend that they consider or that they do to help them make connection and make community involvement a part of their practice?
So most of the organizations have come to me. The patients have known me so long. It's usually a patient that knows about me, and then they're involved in that organization, and they say, oh, you've talked about, would you be interested in becoming a sponsor? And I'm like, yes, I would. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came to me about this. So I guess it starts with the relationship you have with the patients, and if they know what your mission is and helping contribute to the community, then they will come to you a lot. So, from school plays to, field trips at the schools, yes, let me do it.
Yeah.
The school contacted us for homework folders. Absolutely, I'll contribute to that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's important for my child and, her classmates.
And when it means something to you, it's an easy yes.
It's an easy yes.
So
Absolutely.
thinking about, if you don't even know where to begin, think about what means something to you. If you've ever felt led or desired to help something in some way outside of your own bubble of yourself, that's a great place to start.
Right.
What stirs you? What gets you fired up? What would be
something that you have an interest in that
Yes.
you don't want to see go away from your community?
What would be an easy yes? And start there. So I thank you for sharing from your heart and sharing how you practice with a heart and how your community embraces you in your practice and you do the same for them.
Oh, thanks,
and
Carrie.
for sharing with this community how they can begin to engage in a deeper, more meaningful way with their patients and their community to have a practice on purpose.
Yes.
So thanks, Dr. Robles.
Oh, thank you for having me.